Dear fellow students, welcome to E-Patashala. I am Dr. Tahira from Gandhigram University, who is going to give you a lesson on functional foods and nutraceuticals in management of cardiovascular disease. For centuries, mankind has been dependent on food as a main source for maintenance of health, and improved nutrition and better health care are among major factors determining life expectancy, which has increased all over the world. Modern lifestyle and current feeding behavior have advanced the development of illness due to overweight and obesity and other related factors. The change in human diet over the past years has adversely affected the health and has been the cause of chronic diseases. Certain chronic diseases which people are affected are obesity, diabetes mellitus, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, stroke, and some types of cancer. Today, the investigation and utilization of the disease-fighting properties of large number of phytochemicals found in both food and non-food plants have created a rebirth in human health and nutrition research. Opportunities for the development of novel dietary products have been formed with all new fields of study that has come with a new term known as nutraceuticals. So let us talk about, or let us read about the use of functional foods and nutraceuticals in the management of cardiovascular disease. Let's see what is with what objectives we are going to learn this e-lesson. On listening to this e-lesson, at the end of this you will be able to conceptualize the nutraceuticals and functional foods and understand the mechanism of action of functional foods in management of cardiovascular disease. So let's start with understanding what is functional foods. So functional foods, designer foods, pharma foods, and nutraceuticals are synonymous for foods that can prevent and treat disease. The term functional food was introduced in Japan in mid-1980s and referred to being nutritious. Japan is the only country that has formulated a specific regulatory approval for functional foods known as foods for specific health use. And of course now France has also brought in some regulatory approval for functional foods. So when we say functional food, as it is mentioned here, designer foods, pharma foods or nutraceuticals are synonymous. But when it comes to functional foods, it actually means that the food or the ingredient present in the food is going to be helpful in disease prevention. So let's look at the definition given by Institute of Medicine Food and Nutrition Board, IOM FNB 1994, which has defined functional food as any food or food ingredient that may provide health benefit beyond the traditional nutrients present in it. So that means that the food, it does not only supply energy and other nutrients like proteins, carbohydrate, fat, that what they mean the traditional nutrients here, but it should produce or it should provide us some health benefit. The health benefit from a functional food is through its food as a whole or the food ingredient. So then you call that as a functional food. It's a concept of nutraceutical. So now we understood what functional food is. Now let's understand what nutraceutical is. Now let's learn the origin and the concept of nutraceutical from where the word came. Though we are talking about CBD, but it is quite interesting to know what is this. So the word was coined in 1979 by Stephen Reeve Fellis, and it is defined as a food or a part of food that provide medical or health benefits, including the prevention and treatment of disease. So when we said functional food, it is a food or the food ingredient. Here when we say nutraceutical, it is the food component, the component present in the food that is being isolated and that is being used in the treatment and prevention of disease. Then you call that as a nutraceutical. There's another explanation that the word nutrient and pharmaceutical was combined and then we got the word nutraceutical. So now before going into the other aspects of nutraceutical and functional foods in management of CVD, let's first understand what the quality characters of a functional food. When we say a functional food, what should be its quality characteristics? It should be a food derived from naturally occurring sources. It should not be a designed food. It should be a food derived from naturally occurring sources. It should be consumed as a part of daily diet. So it's a very good example of a functional food is your curd, buttermilk, your fermented the batters like dosa batter, dokla batter, and all this will possess certain functional foods because they have the fermented on fermentation microbes are being growing and they are acting as for organisms or a substance that help in overcoming diseases. In particular, the food when ingested should regulate a particular body process. It should remove the biological defense mechanism. It should be an agent in prevention of a specific disease. It should control mental and physical conditions. It should retard the aging process. We have many anti-aging creams that are available, but we are not talking about the just the physical aging or superficial aging, but the aging also is in the organ aging. When your heart's functioning is getting lowered, or your liver's capacity is getting reduced, or your kidney capacity is getting reduced, we may even call that to be an aging process. So any functional food should have these qualities, then you call a food to be a functional food. Something like it should be a naturally derived source, it should form a part of our daily diet, and it should be when ingested, it should regulate the body process, and it should help in prevention of a specific disease, and it should control mental and physical conditions of the body, and it should retard the aging process. So now let's see about the classification of nutraceuticals and functional foods. So nutraceuticals can be organized in several ways depending upon the specific interest or need. So when you classify it from source, food source, and from which source it is, so in that way we can classify the nutraceuticals, whether it's from animal sources or whether it's from plant sources or it's from microorganisms. When we talk about animal sources, a fish protein isolate or an conjugated linoleic acid CLAs are taken as a nutraceutical component from animal sources. When we talk about plants, catechins, epigalactins, right, tannins, all the flavonoids, flavones, all these can be isolated from plants, herbs, greens, broccoli and all that, and they also act as mushrooms, which can act as a nutraceutical. Microorganisms, we talk about probiotic and prebiotic foods. Next is a mechanism of action. How do they bring about the nutraceutical action, whether it is an antihypertensive action or antioxidant activity or an anti-cholesterolemic activity, or how it is you talk about in the mechanism of action. When it comes to the chemical nature, the type of bonding they have, the type of structures they possess, all this talks about the chemical nature of the nutraceutical. So now we have a clear idea about what a functional food is, what nutraceuticals are, and what are the quality characteristics of a functional food, and how the nutraceuticals and functional foods are classified. Now, why is nutraceuticals and functional foods important in disease? So in most of our degenerative disease and the so-called diseases that is affecting the people in a very exponential rate, like your cardiovascular disease, diabetes mellitus, osteoporosis, arthritis, and now food intolerance is also increasing day by day, and all your gastrointestinal diseases like very uncommon disease like ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome is now at rise. Now the prevalence is becoming very high, and other inflammations and cancers of different types and oxidative stress, all these are growing in an exponential rate, and the prevalence is very high. And now it's a time for us to think about these nutraceuticals, how they prevent and control the disease. So now we will, for our study topic, we will take cardiovascular disease, how cardiovascular disease can be prevented or can be managed by the use of nutraceuticals and functional foods. So CVD is a heart and blood vessel disease which is connected to the heart and the blood vessel disease, and that affect the circulatory system. So there is an array of disease that affects the cardiovascular system. So they are termed as coronary heart disease, which you call it as heart attack, and then cerebrovascular disease, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, congenital cardiovascular defect that comes as hereditary, and peripheral vascular diseases. So these are the common diseases which could grouped under CVD, and even ischemia or myocardial infarction, where the supply of oxygen and nutrient to one part of the heart tissues are being denied, and in turn that causes cardiac arrest and death of a person. So these are the diseases that we pull up under cardiovascular diseases. What is the risk factors or causative factors for CVD? So let's look into the factors that causes CVD. One is smoking. People smoking are using any tobacco in form of chewing it or smoking, they say it causes CVD. And again, high LDL, that is a bad cholesterol, and low HDL, which is called as a good cholesterol. And LDLs are low density lipoproteins and HDLs are high density lipoproteins. So when a person is consuming a very bad diet for a long period of time with heavy unsaturated fats and high calorie diet, then this leads to a high production of high LDL, and then that becomes a great risk of CVD. Then uncontrolled hypertension. Hypertension, when the pressure goes above normal, that is around the systolic and diastolic pressure goes about 120 to 80. When it goes above this, and when it reaches somewhere around 190 and 110, then the patient gets an uncontrolled hypertension. This uncontrolled hypertension is also the main reason due to faulty lifestyle habits, anxiety, stress, inadequate exercise, and also dietary habits. And physical inactivity is another risk factor of CVD. So when we see the risk factors, these are all, for example, smoking, high LDL, physical inactivity, and certain other being inactive or consuming excessive alcohol or excessive stress. All these are modifiable factors which, when modified or when treated with some other alternative way, we can overcome CVDs. And obesity, uncontrolled diabetes, and all this they have chosen or they have identified or listed as risk factors of CVD. And most of the risk factors, except for genetic condition, others are all modifiable factors where we can overcome CVD. So how can we prevent CVD? So the prevention of CVD is to know first, know your blood pressure, and you have to keep it under control. At the age of 30, we better start with checking our pressure every day, and we keep it under control. And exercising, regular exercise. Then stop smoking, and if you are into the habit, we at least try to minimize the number of times we smoke, and otherwise we stop totally, we restrain from it. Get tested for diabetes, and if you have it, keep it under control, because these days pre-diabetics are under race. So we have to see that we get tested for diabetes, blood sugar, and we have to know our cholesterol and triglyceride levels, and you have to keep it under control. Eat lot of fruits and vegetables and maintain a healthy weight. So these are the common prevention methods of CVD. Here when we say eat lot of fruits and vegetables, keep always your your dining plate colorful. Keep lot of fruits, lot of vegetables, which will add on to your lifespan. Now let's go into the management of CVD. So management of CVD is when we saw the risk factors, when we saw the prevention methods, it was one part of it was all modifiable factors, except for the genetic part of it. The modifiable factors can be easily controlled. Like if you are going to be inactive, you make yourself active. You try to overcome stress by doing some yoga and all that. And certain lifestyle practices like alcohol consumption, smoking, this can be restrained. But apart from this, we have a major prevention method through foods or so-called foods, or the foods we talk about these days are the nutraceuticals and functional foods. But these alone can't manage CVD, but we need other related exercises also with us, that is modifiable factors like activity, stress release. All this has to be taken along with these functional foods and nutraceuticals, which will help us in controlling CVD. Now let's see the functional foods and nutraceuticals involved in management of CVD. Cardiovascular disease remains a leading cause of disability and death in developing and developed countries. So we in the earlier decades, maybe 30 years back, 20 years back, you would have heard a person getting heart attack at the age of 60, 70, 80. But now, very recently, recent past, we heard the news of a 23-year-old boy died of heart attack. A 20-year-old girl died of heart attack. So what is the reason? The main reason is their lifestyle habits. So these cardiovascular disease can be controlled with the modifiable risk factors, and we can prevent an individual from getting CVD. So one is your healthy diet, correct maintenance of correct body weight, acceptable lipoprotein profile, and normal blood pressure maintenance to prevent CVD. Yeah. So when we talk about healthy diet, we have to talk about the functional foods and nutraceuticals, which is one prong or one way in overcoming or managing cardiovascular disease. Nutraceuticals in the form of antioxidants, dietary fibers, omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, vitamins, minerals are recommended together with physical exercise for prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. When we talk about antioxidants, these antioxidants can be enzymatic antioxidants and non-enzymatic antioxidants. When it comes to non-enzymatic antioxidants, they are your minerals, simple minerals like vitamin C, vitamin A, and we have vitamin E, and then the minerals like selenium. All these act as antioxidants. So consuming foods rich in these, or taking supplements of vitamin C, vitamin E will help us, or provide us the nutraceutical component and help us in prevention of CVD. So next is your dietary fibers. When we talk about dietary fibers, they are the fibers. Fibers can be of two types: soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. Soluble fibers and insoluble fibers help in controlling our appetite, as well as it helps to reduce the cholesterol, and in turn helps to reduce CVD. And of course, omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids will help in improving the HDL, which is one of the risk factors which we were talking about. When there is a low LDL and a high, when there is a high LDL and a high low HDL, then we have the susceptibility to get cardiovascular disease. So to reduce that, we have to take omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, and of course when minerals like vitamin C, vitamin A, which I mentioned, and vitamins and minerals like selenium and zinc are recommended, but this cannot go a single way. It has to be coupled with exercise for the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Now let's look into some of the nutraceuticals which are helpful in maintenance of your health, or which acts as a cardioprotector in nature. The first one is, we'll talk about the polyphenols present in grapes and in wine, which alter the cellular metabolism and signaling, which is consistent with reducing arterial disease. When we look into the Westerners, they consume a lot of wine, red wine, and they have a control over the consumption of the red wine, and they say, or they believe, that the wine has a lot of polyphenols that are present in grapes, and on fermentation these polyphenols help in reducing CVD. So grapes have a lot of phytochemicals like resveratrol, which helps in overcoming cardiovascular disease. Flavonoids are widely distributed in onions, endives, cruciferous vegetables, black grapes, red wine, grapefruits, apples, cherries, and berries. These onions have a component called as allicin, which is helpful in overcoming or helpful in controlling cardiovascular disease. They have an antioxidant property. Similarly, all cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, which has vitamin C content, and they also act as an antioxidant and help in prevention and control of CVD. Of course, we talked about black grapes and red wine and grapefruits and apples. They have enough of fiber present in it, and cherries and berries. Along with the flavonoids, there is also flavonoids which helps in overcoming or prevention of cardiovascular disease. Then flavonoids in plants are available as in many components as flavonones, flavonols, that is in their alcoholic form, acetone form, and as glycosides also they are present. When we talk about the flavones, and it is an upcoming product which we can find in the market, the chamomile tea. The chamomile tea, now we have sachets also available, which they say the flavonoid epigenin is present in it, and that helps in overcoming or controlling the cardiovascular disease. Same way flavonones, we have the citrus fruits and milk thistle, silbean. These are the nutraceuticals present in it. And we talk about flavonols, they are the one which are present in tea and grapefruit and buckwheat and all that. When we talk about flavonoglycosides, ginkgo, which play a major role in curing the cardiovascular disease. And they say a cup of chamomile tea every day makes you very healthy, and your blocks in the blood vessels are also being removed, or it's been attacked with the presence of these flavonoid epigenin. Flavonoids block the angiotensin converting enzyme that raises blood pressure by blocking the suicide enzyme glycooxygenase, and breaks down prostaglandins and prevent platelet stickiness and hence platelet aggregation. So it not only helps in hypertension, but also as a whole it is cardioprotective in nature. There are few components present in plants and animal sources very useful in management of CVDs, and apart from what we have mentioned earlier. So one is, again we'll be talking about the flavonoids, where there are many different types of flavonoids present in different foods. Like what is the main action of these flavonoids are? They act as antioxidants, they reduce the free radicals produced by oxidation, they lower the LDL cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, reduce platelet aggregation. So having foods rich in flavonoids is a very truly helpful in management of cardiovascular disease. But here again, the amount that we have to consume is very, very important. So that, as we said, there are not much regulations that are available for these functional foods and nutraceuticals. So we have to put in a lot of research into the quantity, the amount that is required for regulating the blood pressure, or regulating or the cardiovascular disease, or preventing cardiovascular disease. Now, the next component we look into is dietary fiber. Some forms of dietary fiber lower blood lipids, notably the total cholesterol and low density lipoprotein cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. Dietary fibers include cellulose, hemicellulose, polyfructose, galacto-oligosaccharides, gum, mucilages, pectins, lignin, and resistant starches, and are classically divided into soluble or insoluble one. As I told you earlier, dietary fibers are basically divided into two types, as soluble fibers and insoluble fibers. Most recently, some are proposing the use of term viscous and fermentability in place of soluble and insoluble to describe the functions and health benefits of dietary fiber. Both soluble and insoluble fibers pass through the stomach and small intestine undigested, but when they reach the large intestine, they are fermented by colonic bacteria in different extensions. As a result of the fermentation process, short-chain fatty acids are produced, providing the important health benefits of fiber. Functional fiber is something that manufacturers deliberately add to food products to provide similar health benefits to those of dietary fiber without adding significant calories. Some examples of functional fibers are cellulose, maltodextrin, polydextrose, inulin, and these are isolated from foods where they naturally occur. Omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids which play an important role on human health promotion, and since they cannot be synthesized by human body, they must be obtained through diet. They are good fats and compete with bad fats such as trans fat and cholesterol, and they help to reduce the LDL levels. This last is not properly essential since human body can manufacture small amount of essential fatty acids like oleic acid. The number following omega represents the position of the first double bond. And these omega-3 fatty acids, namely your linoleic, linolenic and arachidonic acids, are very essential in improving the good cholesterol level. A number of different seeds and oils and nuts contain a considerable amount of linoleic acid like linseed acid, flax seeds, and their oil typically contain 45 to 55% acids as linolenic acid, whereas soybean oil, rapeseed oil, walnuts are typically contain less than 10% of fatty acids as linolenic acid. So there is little linoleic acid in corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, which are rich in linoleic acid. So the mechanism of action of the N3-PUFA is shown in the diagram below, and this tells us that how these fatty acids can help or decrease the CVD risk. And then we have the sterols and stanols present, which also helps in overcoming cardiovascular disease. These sterols and stanols are present in vegetables, nuts, seeds, cereals, legumes, vegetable oils, and they also are acting as, they structurally resemble cholesterol, but they are called as sterols, and they are carried from liver to the cells by low density lipoproteins through blood, and these originate fat deposits in the arteries, increasing the risk of coronary disease. So these LDLs can be removed with the help of these sterols because they mimic the LDL content. Then phytosterols are sterols occurring naturally in plants, and consumption of phytosterols are cardioprotective, and they help in lowering blood cholesterol, and they are mostly present in soybeans and other components. Soy protein is another component which is isolated from soybeans, and they are found to be very helpful in overcoming atherosclerosis. And the diagram below shows how soy protein helps in overcoming atherosclerosis. To summarize the E module on nutraceuticals and functional foods in management of CVD, the famous quoting, "Let food be thy medicine," is a popular saying, and thus food should not only be limited to as a source of energy that is required to maintain the functions of a body. The bioactive peptides and components present in foods are suitable for management of CVDs. The bioactive components present in foods act as a therapeutic agents, and these agents can be isolated and used in formulas that could provide health benefits. However, such foods cannot be a substitute to drugs but will be useful in prevention of cardiovascular disease.